What's going on, guys? This title of the video has Devon Larratt changed my perspective on my training direction. That's where we're going with this. Look, it's been an interesting. If you've been following my story for a while, you'll know the chapters that I've been through in respect to focusing on hand and wrist, focusing on table time, to focusing on side pressure, to focusing on fundamental strength. It's a winding path, to use another Devon Larratt quote. But Devon has changed my perspective, or he's forced me to change my perspective in respect to what matters most in the sport when it comes to reaching the physical peak. How do you get there? Now, before I talk about that effect, I've got to talk about where I'm at in my most recent chapter. We all know that for the last almost 12 months now, I've been focusing on fundamental strength, building my base. Prior to that, I spent 9 years focusing essentially, let's just call it, on arm wrestling specifics, primarily the hand and wrist, with some side pressure as well. The last 12 months, I've been foundation training, looking at things like big push movements, big pull movements, bicep heavy movements. The reason I've done that is largely because of what the Georgian team managed to achieve. They really focus, if you look at their training, there's a lot of bicep. There's a lot of really heavy bicep. And it was that back pressure dominance from them that set them apart in the world ranks. Now, it looked as though that was going to be the defining factor of human potential. Back pressure, bicep strength. And then Devon defeats Ermes the way he did. And it's really changed a lot of things. Now, if you look at the anatomical comparison between these two guys, Ermes, we know, has more bicep strength than Devon. In terms of raw strength there he has that 92 kilo back pressure, which unofficial world record in that respect. Levan, similar sort of thing, huge numbers, but we're going to focus on Ermes. We know that Ermes had a stronger bicep than Devon, but Devon managed to make it about a smaller joint. He managed to make it about the hand and wrist, and he did that by having 68 kilos of through the wrist pronated pressure. What that allowed him to do was to negate the chain further down the link. We always say in arm wrestling that the closer it is to your fingertips, the more impact it will potentially have. You win the hand, you cancel out the arm. If you win the hand enough, you cancel out the arm. You can't win the hand alone and have no arm. You must have something to back it up. But Devon won the hand to a degree in which it was then enough of what he had in his arm to get the job done. Devon's raw bicep power, like I said, it's not Ermes level, but it's still obviously a very high level bicep. So what does this do? This shows us that specifics can get you all the way to the top of the world. He's just proven that. He hasn't faced Levan yet, but he's gotten to the top of the world with it in a lot of people's eyes. One thing about it is his next match is going to be Denis Sablenkov. Denis may have the cupping to contain that 68 kilos of pronated rise. Ermes didn't have the cupping. Ermes didn't have the ability to contain it. Denis has one of those freaky hands that has been arm wrestling for decades, where it just might be enough. Now, if Denis has enough to contain the pronation, it then becomes who has the better arm once again. And therefore the hand and wrist has been taken out of it, and it becomes about, let's call it, the back pressure one more time. So Denis might be able to prove that biceps matter again, but Devon may well win with the rotating high ground attack once again. Either way, what does this do for me? What does this do from my perspective? I still believe I have a lot of room to improve in my fundamental strength in all that I'm doing under Lachlan Adair's program. I believe there's still so much room to go in my chest, in my back, in my shoulders, and in my biceps, and I will continue to do that. I'll continue to pursue all those. However, it has activated my mind to the value of daily single reps on critical things: pronation, cupping, rising, all through the wrist. So I will continue to do my full program, foundation strength stuff. I'll continue. I'm loving that. Getting strong across the board. But when I come home, I'm taking that approach of adding to the program now a whole bunch of heavy singles on pronation and rise and cupping. That's pretty much what I'll do. And I have to do that because I can't ignore that Devon managed to defeat one of the strongest biceps in the world by having 68 kilos of pronated rise. That's the perspective that's changed for me. And I think that we have to pay attention to it. I thought the Georgians had shown us the true ace. Devon has just returned serve and shown us there is yet again another way. Anyway, that's my thoughts on it. Let me know what you reckon. And either way, it is a winding road. Again, a Devon Larratt quote. A very winding road all the way through the career that is arm wrestling. And it's an enjoyable one. And one that I am very grateful to be on. All right, guys.